Indonesia International Motor Show, one of the country's major car exhibitions, is back again amid rising competition in the country's car market. Opened by President Joko Widodo on February 15, the exhibition will last until February 25.
As many as 53 car and motorcycle brands are taking part in the Indonesia International Motor Show, or IIMS 2024, currently being held at the Jakarta International Expo Arena in Kemayoran, Jakarta. Diandra Promosindro, the organizer of the auto show, is targeting 470,000 visitors during the 11-day exhibition, which will end in February 25. The total transactions are expected to reach 5.3 trillion rupiah, about $338.40 million. The IIMS 2024 officially opened by President Joko Widodo on Thursday, February the 15th, is also joined by electric vehicle producers from China, BYD, and electric car manufacturer from Vietnam, VinFast. Other participants in this annual exhibition also includes Chery, Morris Garage, Wuling, Citroen, Jaguar Land Rover, Subaru, Volkswagen, Mini, Audi, BMW, Hyundai, Kia, Daihatsu, Toyota, Honda, Nissan, Suzuki, and Mitsubishi. In his statement following the opening of the expo, President Jokowi again emphasized that electric-based vehicles would be the future of the Indonesian automotive industry. Regarding support for the development of the electric vehicle ecosystem, said that President Jokowi, the government is committed to further cutting the value-added tax for electric vehicles. Previously, in 2023, the government has also issued a series of fiscal incentives for the purchases of electric vehicles. Toyota Astra Motor presents a series of new brands ranging from electric vehicles and other passenger as well as commercial vehicles during the exhibition. Battery and plug-in hybrid vehicles exhibited by Toyota include the Yaris Cross HEV and Kijang Innova Zenix HEV and the all-new Velfire Hybrid EV. At the exhibition, Daihatsu displays all-new Xenia, new Terios, new Astra, Daihatsu Sigra, Rocky, and all-new Ella models. Car sales in Indonesia suffered a slight decline in 2023 amid increasing competition between Japanese and Chinese car manufacturers, as well as the entry of electric cars whose prices are becoming more affordable. Based on data released, the Association of Indonesian Automotive Industries, or GAIKINDO, wholesale car sales declined by 4% to 1,800,000 of cars in 2023. The retail sales also fell by 1.5% to 998,000 cars. Of the various types of cars sold, Japanese car brands still dominated the Indonesian automotive market last year. In fact, the top three were held by Toyota, Daihatsu, and Honda. Toyota became the market leader with a market share of 32.6%, followed by Daihatsu in the second place with a market share of 18.4%, while Honda was in the third place with a market share of 12.8%. GAIKINDO has set a car sales target of 1.1 million cars in 2024, an increase from 1.05 million cars set this year. Chairman of GAIKINDO, Jongki Desugiarton, contributes the increase in the sales target to the presence of electric cars from China.
Now, Indonesia remains the largest car market in ASEAN, but the growing presence of Korean as well as Chinese cars and also electric vehicles has contributed to a fiercer competition here in the country. Now we have with us Alvina Atmaja, the CEO of ASKO Automotive, and she will talk about the competition in the Indonesian car market. Welcome, Alvina, to Economic Outlook. Thank you for being here. First of all, last year, the national car sales have suffered a slight decline, but downward trend continued until January last month. As a person who is actively involved in the car market, what are the main factors causing this decline in your opinion?
Actually, we see that the yearly trend in January, the car market tends to decline. However, this year we have seen a bigger decline of 26% compared to the average of about 20%. And I think there's a few factors that contributes to this. One being, I guess the economy slowing down a little bit in Q4 2023. And also with the election being in February, I think people, the market sort of has the sentiment of waiting and seeing what
Wait and see,
happens. Yeah. So I think that's why in January people tend to hold back their purchases.
So you think that this economic slowdown is actually pretty normal early on in this year?
Yeah, it is the market trend.
All right. Now, Indonesia's economic growth is expected to stay at 5% this year. With such economic outlook, what is the general prospect of the country's car market this year?
Yeah, so I think 5%, even though it's not much growth from the prediction last year, I think it's still a lot bigger than the global prediction. I think the global economy growth is expected to be about 2.9%, and Indonesia is still, like 5% is still quite a big number. And I guess in the car industry, any economic growth will translate to more consumer spending. I think this year the inflation rate is supposed to be a bit lower than before. So I think what happens is now customers become more liquid and they have more spending power. And another thing that we can also look at is that any car purchases or auto purchases will translate to grow in, I guess, the financial and banking sector, because our market usually buys 75% of the market purchases cars through financing options.
I see. Now, recently we have a popular, like more gain on like Korean cars as well as Chinese cars, as we are seeing more and more of those cars, especially in the city, and more brands coming into Indonesia. Do you think that their growing presence is actually have affected the sales of the Japanese cars, which dominated Indonesia's brand so far?
Yeah, so Korean and Chinese brands entering the market, I think it's great for the customers. Now they have more options, you know, which car fits them more in terms of pricing or engine types. And I think for us auto players, it sort of proves that, you know, these car brands sees Indonesia as a potential big market for them. If we look at the data, however, Japanese brand still owns about 90% of the market, which is a very big portion. And I think that the Japanese brands are starting to also introduce EV vehicles right now. And I think we are, I guess, planning to fill in that space as well. Yeah.
So do you think, what is the trend going to be like for the next few years ahead?
Well, I think now the government is incentivizing a lot for EV vehicles, whether it's from the consumer side or from the producer side. And I think for Japanese brands, because we see that EV is the future, I think they are pushing towards creating more products, as I've said before, whether it's EV, pure EV, or hybrid products.
I see. That is the future of car usage.
Yes.
All right. Now, so far we have been talking about passenger car sales. We want to know, how big is the market for the commercial car in Indonesia today? Can you explain more on that?
Yes. So with commercial cars in 2023, the unit sales was about 236,000, which is a slight, about a 1.6% decline from 2022. But again, I think because commercial cars are being used by business owners in all industries, I think that has been affected by, again, the election being in February and a lot of business owners waiting and seeing what happens with the election.
Now, your company handles the dealership of Daihatsu, Isuzu, Peugeot, and also the UD truck cars. According to you, Alvina, what are the main challenges or perhaps obstacles in selling these cars in Indonesia?
I would say that the amount of competition that we have, it's quite fierce. Right now, I think with every brand, they occupy all market segments, and there's always a product that goes head to head. So, for example, in Daihatsu, we have Daihatsu Sigra, and Toyota have Calya, and Honda have Brio, and they all are similar in terms of specifications, pricing, and we are basically fighting for the same market segment.
So any certain marketing strategy that you are going to implement this year?
Yeah, so I think when we sell cars, we don't only think about just selling the car and getting the cars out there, but we also want to think about, what happens after you sell the cars. So after sales service, financing abilities, what can we offer for our customers to make these cars more affordable? And of course, we also want to think about the resale value of these cars. With Japanese cars, especially Daihatsu, we have a very strong resale value in the second-hand market, and that's something that I think the non-Japanese brands still are fighting for.
Exactly. I was going to ask you about that. Since the Japanese car have better resale
Yes.
value, do you think the Korean brands and as well as the China brands are going to catch up in terms of that soon?
Well, I think the Japanese brands have a better image in terms of quality and durability, and them having their production facilities here, it makes it a lot easier for, if you need parts and things like that. And I think the Korean and Chinese brands, because a lot of them produce EV cars, then it's just the battery, right? So I think we have to see, 3-4 years ahead to see what the second-hand market will be like for them.
What is your prospect of your car sales this year? I mean, what brand do you think will advance ahead for this year?
Well, hopefully Daihatsu and Isuzu, of course. But I think we are also, if we're looking at the market trends, we are seeing a lot of brands like Wuling and VinFast from Vietnam. I think these brands have quite aggressive in their marketing, and they have good products that are suitable for the Indonesian market.
Okay. Can you also share with us what are the challenges being in the car dealership business so far?
So far, I think again, we are facing a lot of competition for the market segment that we have. So Daihatsu focuses on being affordable for the Indonesian market. And I think with the current government policy that they have incentivizing the EV vehicles, then that puts other brands as affordable as we are.
I see. Now, a lot of people are transitioning towards EV and
Yeah.
hybrid. What do you think are the benefits of transitioning, of using EV and hybrid? And do you think our country is actually ready in terms of all the charging points and the batteries itself?
Yeah, so I think the charging stations was something that we were thinking about because it's not that easy to set up a network of charging stations. And we have to also remember that these EVs their mileage is not so far. So then you would have to set up a lot of these charging stations in a lot of places. And again, these batteries, they're not universal yet. So you will have to do different types, or you would have different adapters for that. Yeah, so I think that's where the challenge will be.
For the future trend, what brand or perhaps what kind of models of the cars do you think is going to be popular in the next few years?
I think SUVs will be popular as families are growing. Indonesia is a growing population, so we need to take the family out, and that's where SUVs come in. So, and also I think commercial vehicles, because we have seen a lot of growth in different industries. For example, we saw an e-commerce growth, and that translates to logistic growth, and that's where commercial vehicles come into play because there's more demand for them.
And just for the information of our audiences, how many branches does ASCO Automotive have, and what do you have planned for the future?
So we have 11 Daihatsu branch and 4 Isuzu branch. Yeah.
That's great. Great to
Yeah.
know, and all the best for you for your future endeavors.
Thank you
Alvina
so
Atmaja,
much.
CEO of ASCO Automotive. Thank you so much for being here
Thank
at
you for
Economic
having
Outlook
me.
and sharing your insights. Thank you. Let's